Hello there and welcome back to Building with the Boys. I'm Scott and we have got the next 4 issues of the Disney Doll's House, starting with issue 27. It seems like it's been entirely too long, but it has been less than 4 weeks since we had the last ones. It's a bit of a weird one, this one, because we are taking a detour away from the main house. But we're doing something that's incredibly relevant, needs to be done, and that is we're building the base panel for the house. So it's not pretty, because it's just raw wood, but we're building a very large base panel for the house. Now ultimately what's going to happen is, once we've built this panel, we will then build the supporting walls around it, and the house will sit on top of that. So it's a bit weird, this. Fortunately the base panel's done, so I mean it might be 3 slightly boring builds if you're used to having your kind of pretty wallpaper and your features and whatnot, but it's where we are now. In 27, this is where it tells you to fit the door. Now I've already done it. I did it in 26. You can go back and see my 26 or fit in the door. If you have problems fitting this door, Jay over at Jay's channel has done a fantastic troubleshooting guide to what might be wrong with your door. The only thing that you should probably, you're potentially going to have a problem with, is the paneling in Mickey or the Frozen room. Now if your Frozen panel along the dividing wall is pushed right to the beam, the Frozen panel will not hinder this door. The Mickey panel, if you don't have that pushed to where that line is, there's a line inside there, it might cause your door to stick or not close. But again, Jay has done a very detailed video about all the problems that you may or may not encounter with this door. So if you do have any issues with it, check his video out. I will put a link to it in the description. Swing by and see Jay's video, and whilst you're there, throw him a like and a subscribe. Good guy, Jay. He's also been doing some of the Christmas builds already. He's been importing them from Japan, so you can get kind of a sneaky peek at some of the Japan Christmas builds. Really nice. But yeah, good guy, Jay. If you're not subscribed to his channel yet, head over there, subscribe to him as well. And speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, please do. It's really nice that so many of you have. And we don't bite. We'd love to have you on board for this whole thing, because we are going right to the end. So we're doing the full 120. We are then doing the additional 80 for the Christmas and summer extension. And if they go longer, we'll go longer. We'll keep going until this is done. So without further ado, let's get into this one. Let's have a look at the bits that come in, because there are some very nice furniture parts in this one. And then we're going to move on. As I said, I've done the door. If you want to see the door, 26 is where the door is. So I'm just going to be building the base panel in this issue. But without further ado, let's take a look at our pretty bits. So here are our decorative elements we get in this month's pack. And this is gorgeous. This is Beast's chair. You must forgive my nails. I've been painting. I've got paint all over my nails. This is gorgeous. This is really nice. This is all padded. This is material lined. It's lovely, and this is very ornate, and this is Beast's chair. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous thing. That really is lovely. Now this over here has caused a little confusion. This is called the toilet bowl. Now we have this little cloth in there. Now I'll tell you why this has caused confusion, because toilet bowl seems unusual, but that's not toilet bowl as we know toilet. Now Beauty and the Beast is French. So a toilet bowl in France is not the same thing it is here. This is going into Beast's, Belle's tea room. So toilet bowl is typically, in France, it would be a bowl of warm water. Typically they put lemon in there or something like that as well. And you use this to just sort of clean your hands, wipe your face. That's what it's for. Like kind of what on an airplane they leave you a hot towel. It's that sort of thing. Toilet's not the same thing. So if you're familiar with eau de toilette or eau de parfum, same thing. Now the difference in, eau de toilette literally means refresh water, I believe. It's that. It was a bowl to freshen up. So you just wash your hands with it, and that's what it's for. So the difference in eau de toilette and eau de parfum is the strength. So eau de perfume has a higher alcohol content in it, whereas toilette is supposed to be refreshing. That's the idea behind it. So that's why this is called the toilet bowl. It is not for it's not a toilet. It's to wash your hands in. So I would imagine this will go on a little table somewhere, and next to Beast's chair, so he can wash his claws before he has tea. So that's what that is. Anyway, let's get on with the build. Okay, so now this is everything you get inside your pack. Now, providing you read the instructions, you're going to be alright. If you don't read the instructions, you're just looking at the pictures, you're going to have a bad time. Or if you just glance the instructions, you're going to have a bad time, because in one of the illustrations, as I can show you here, it's pointing letter A. Now, if you just glance the instructions, you're going to go, oh, well, letter A's got to be up then, so that means it's being done this way around. Nope, because if you read the instructions, it says letter A needs to be facing down. So this is up, this is facing down. So that's the way we've got to be. So letter A facing downwards. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to take the beam, which is marked A, that's this one here, and we're just going to test fit all this first before we start gluing anything in place. We're going to test fit it all. So I can see that's right, so it's not going to go on that way because that'll be mental, so it's got to be that way. So A is going to be facing outwards, so that is going to fit in there. I'm not going to force this. So that's where A is going to go. Get out of the way, Beetlejuice. And then we're going to take our beam marked B, which is this one, and that is going to go on our opposite side. So again, the B would be facing outwards. The reason for this is because when we flip this around the right way, you'll be able to see the letters. So that's where B is going to go, in there like that. Then we're going to take our beam marked D, which would be this one here. And that, let's just make sure we're going the right way. Yep. That is then going to come down here. So let's rotate this, make this a little easier for ourselves. So not A, B then. So D is then going to, again, with our letter facing outwards, is going to come down here like so. So that's where that one's going to go. And then once we have that in place, we take our beam marked E, which is this little one. There we go, there's the E. And the E facing outwards. So E facing down on this one, E facing outwards on this one is going to slot in there. Then we're going to take our beam marked F, and that is going to sit along here with our F again facing down. It's going to slot into there, it's going to straddle each of those beams there like that. And that is how we're going to do this. And then finally, once all this is done, we're going to flip that over and this then sits on it. So that's how you do this. Your letters face down and out. So you need your letters facing outwards, like this B here, and then the letters facing downwards. If you do that, if you stick to that, you're going to be okay. So let's glue this thing together. Okay, so we've glued this one. Now you don't need to put glue on this section here. Just so that starting with the smallest end, you need glue there, 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 and there. No glue on this section. It's not, just doesn't ask for it to be glued. I don't know why. But we're gonna, like I said before, the instructions now. A facing down. So let's see where your A is. Right, there's your A. That facing down. A on this side, facing out. So this is the way around we're going. So now we've just got to line this up and pop this. I can see what it's doing, not to put glue on that one section now because it hangs over the end. This is very snug, but don't be shy. This is good. This is the foundation. We need this snug, we need this tight. There we go. So that's going nowhere. So that's where that one goes. As far as you can see, A facing outwards. Let's go and zoom on that. There you go. A facing outwards. Okay, next thing we're going to do is B. So spin this one round. So once you know that, the pattern's quite easy to follow because B will face outwards. So again, where this one's going to go is here and here. So let's get that glued up, let's get that attached. Okay, so here's B glued up. Now take note of how I've glued this, because again, it's not asking you to smear the entire thing in glue. That is not what you're being asked to do here. So again, flipping it over, so our B is on the outside, We are going into the furthest hole. Let me make sure that is correct. Yes, so the furthest hole along, we're going in here. So as long as you line up that B there with that one, we know everything is going where it's supposed to be going. So that one's in, and that one's in. Now you'll see why it says not to glue all along it, because in that way we should, there we go, we got no raw glue here. So that's A and B in place exactly where they need to be. Happy with that. Good. Okay, so next thing we do is take beam D. And if you note again how we've glued. So again, you're not smearing this whole thing in glue. And then what we're going to do is this is going to, with D facing outwards, we're going to go in here, in here, and here. And then we're going to push that down to fit. Now you can tidy up your glue, but you don't need to, because you just need a good bond here. And no one's ever going to see this. This is underneath the model, so no one's ever going to see any of this glue. It's going to dry clear anyway, so you don't need to worry about it. These aren't internals, so you can be a little messier with this one. So that is this section for now done. We're going to move that out of the way, and we're going to move on to this section here. Now again, using the exact same principle. This is more loosely fitted. E facing down, and then E facing out. So this is, again, I'll show you on some camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue along here, nice and cut, just a little here and a little here, and then using these as a guide. So these are going to be to your right hand side whilst you're doing this, and your E facing outwards. This is going to fit in there. That's it for that one. So that's that part complete. That's how that's going to sit on the model, but that's done now. Now we're going to bring the other one back up. Taking frame F, this is where we're going to apply glue. Again, it's not just a case of just caking this thing in glue, because a lot of these areas are going to be exposed. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a very small bead of glue along here, around there. So that's where our glue is on this one. We'll then move into, let me try to get this right. Okay, so skip this hole, move over to the middle hole here. And again, we're going to glue around here. So we can find it about here. Again, just some glue along there. Around here. Let's get the top. And then we're going right down to this one here. And we're going to glue along there. Now what we're going to do is, again, so there's your F. Your F is going to be facing down. So this is going to sit over here and over this beam here. So we need to straddle the beam. There we go. So that's that one. And that one there. Push down. Now you need to let this dry. Ideally you need to let this dry. For the sake of this video, I'll show you what we do next. But we need to let this dry. That's glue. Seriously, new cutting mat. So once that's done, and you've allowed this to dry, mine isn't, but I'm taking the risk for you lucky people. We're going to flip this over and we'll see what we look like. So this is where we are at this stage. So this is how we're looking. Okay. So once that's done, we're going to take this piece here that we've just built, and we are going to glue along the edge. So we're going to glue along here, along here, along here, along here, along here, and then we are going to place that one down. And it really is that simple. So let me get my glue and we'll fix that now. So there we are, there's the glue applied to this, and then we're just going to, like a jigsaw puzzle, slot that in. Now when you clean your glue off, have the wipe off, push it down into the gaps, just to create a little extra bond. So push your glue down into these cracks here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, is that one complete. Now, you might be looking at this thinking, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Well, this is Mickey's room. This is the floor panel of Mickey's room. So Mickey's room, if I change it to this angle, you might get what I'm talking about. So that is the shape of Mickey's room. That's where we're going to be. So Mickey's room will sit on this section, but higher up. So there'll be walls attached to this, and that is that part. So the next part we'll do will be where the frozen room would go. So I'm hoping that makes sense. But that is everything there is to do in stage 27. There we go, that's 27 complete. Now again, it's not pretty. We're not doing wallpaper, we're not doing lovely fixtures and fittings, but this is completely necessary. This is an absolute, because this is what our house is going to stand on. Now I know from the pictures, it looks like it's sitting on a base panel. It's not. That base panel is actually attached to the house. You couldn't lift the house off it. That thing that it's sat on is part of it, is part of the build. So what you're going to do is we're going to build this thing. And then this is going to go away for a while, which is kind of the tradition. So we're going to build it over the next 3 issues, and then we're not going to touch it for a while. Because we're going to return to the house next month. And we're going to do some more bits and pieces in the house. But then we do start to build this up. So this is going to be quite massive. When this is done, this is going to be slightly bigger than the floor space of your house as it currently is, because there is going to be more that's going to build onto it. So yeah, it's not the sexiest thing, but it's completely necessary. And if, as I said, if you do it as I've said, letters facing down, so when you flip it over and it's the right way up, the letters are facing up, you're gonna be fine. But that's how this works. If not, it can get a bit confusing. And if you read the instructions, it's not confusing. Don't just look at the pictures. Read the instructions. Don't just glance the instructions, read the instructions. Read them twice. And this way you don't make any mistakes, you know? So it's like if you ever put a wallpaper on the wrong way around or something like that, look again, you know, and learn from your mistakes, and that's how you do it. So you just make sure this is as it is. So letters on the beam should be facing outwards, so you can see them at all times. They're not going to face inwards because you wouldn't know where they were. And the letters on the bottom panels are going to be facing upwards, and that way you can see where everything is. And that is how this goes together, because it's all just raw wood, it can start to look a little confusing. You can see from the wooden models I built over here that you do kind of go wood blind because you're just looking at the same color wood. But again, just take your time, follow the advice I've given you, and you'll be okay. That's what the letters are for. The letters are guides. So when you're building this, the letters face down. When you flip it over, they'll be where they're supposed to be. 28 will be coming up very, very soon, where we're building yet more of this. We'll be making this even bigger. And we get our first lights. Now, I know some of you have been freaking out about the lights. They're easy. They're easy, okay? So you'll see. Nothing to panic about. All that panic's been about nothing. You'll see these lights. Not only are fairly simple, but quite lovely as well. And easily done. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button. And if you have been watching us but you haven't subscribed yet, do. We'd love to have you for the journey. It helps us massively. It helps our channel a lot. And not just that, we just like having you. We like having you as part of our community. I love particularly the Disney Dolls House. I love speaking to all of you because it's great seeing so many different levels. I mean, we've got people that are coming to this for the first time, and we've got veteran builders with great advice to give. And it's lovely speaking to all of you, it really is. And it's also nice hearing how this is going to be a gift for children that are going to be, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old by the time you're done. It's beautiful. I think it's a lovely thing, and I really enjoy building the Disney Dolls because there's no negativity to it. Some of the other ones we do, people can be quite sort of jaded, but I think it's a really nice community. Love having you. So join us. Hit the subscribe button and come with us all the way to the end. It'll be good to have you. In a world we can be anything at all, just be nice, and we will catch you in issue 28.